You're listening to Gwatney Unplugged on News Radio 102.9 KARN with Scott Romine, brought to you by Gwatney Automotive Group.
Hey, Scott Romine here. Back, we're talking with actress, model, dancer. She can do anything. Jennifer Lyons, talking to us from California. You can see her in The Amazing Spider-Man, Married with Children, all these things that I love. I wanted to ask you, is it as competitive of a business as we would assume it to be?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I started, they were saying 4% of actors in the union could actually make a living acting. That just gives you an example. I think that it's changed a lot since I started, probably 20 years ago. I think it's even broader now. I think the commercial industry's changed so much to where often you see these are not actors. And
right.
So now they're not even hiring union actors for a lot of commercials. And commercials used to be the bread and butter for actors. You know, you audition for tons of TV shows, but you've got one commercial running or two. A national commercial could really keep you on your feet. So it's really, really changed. The competition is unreal these days, and it's become very diverse, which is fantastic. It really gives opportunities to every ethnicity, especially in LA. The market has changed it, so you're not seeing a lot of blonde cheerleaders these days, which is okay. But I'd say the work for me has gotten a little less, especially in commercials.
Are you kidding? There's been plenty of them at my house. I mean,
Oh God! So yes, it's highly, highly competitive. You have to love it.
I've been fortunate to come out there and to work on a few projects here and there, and it seems like there are some things to it that the average person wouldn't assume. Like, I was always shocked, like on the set of something, no one will reveal how old they are.
Yeah, because of ageism. Absolutely.
I mean,
I can tell you.
Yeah,
I play a decade younger than I am usually. Most of my life, I was 22 in Tiger Heart, and my boyfriend was 14. I mean, it's definitely
so.
That's the way it goes.
But Jennifer, is that because one, an older person could legally work longer, and two, they're more mature? I mean, like Spider-Man, yeah. Peter Parker's friends are 30 years old and they're in high school, or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what you just said. That's exactly it. They want somebody who is mature enough to handle the job, but it's also, they have to pay for a teacher on set if you're under 18. They also are only allowed a certain amount of hours with you if you're a minor. So you can work longer hours as an adult, and of course the experience is under your belt. And so, yeah, I mean, I was playing a teenager in my 20s and college in my 30s. So yeah, it's very helpful when you look younger. But there's been a lot of ageism and discrimination that we've had to push back on. And I know IMDb was a thorn in actors' sides for a long time because they post your age. And I know they've gone to court a few times about that.
You do not age. I mean, you don't have this problem, which is great.
I'm trying. I live a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, well, you were blessed to be in the very last Dukes of Hazzard movie. Can you, not the crappy one, not the 2005 one, but the real one, the real last reunion with the original cast. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
Now I'm confused. I thought I was in the first one.
Well,
I think I was in the first one.
Yeah, you're in the first one. That's right. Well, the first one. That's right. There was another one. I was in that one.
Yeah, I don't think I get confused. But anyway, it was fun. I got to go on set a couple times when I was a kid, and there's something magical about actors you looked up to as a kid. Even when you're an actor yourself and you've met movie stars and TV stars and all that, you still kind of gush when you see someone that was in your, you know, that was a big part of your childhood. And I just remember, like, John Schneider, he was so cute, you know, when I was a kid. And then I got to actually play his girlfriend or whatever friend, and I drove him into the show, and I just thought that was so neat. It was kind of life coming full circle. I was Tammy from Talladega Raceway or something like that.
Yeah, you're in a Ferrari or a Corvette or something. I can't remember.
Acura. It was Acura NSX.
That's right.
And you know, what's funny, you know, because I looked much younger. I told him that I had just started driving and I just got my license that month as a joke. And he was scared to death because they actually trusted me to hit a sandbag to drive the car in and sort of like, not peel out. That sounds like really more impressive. But I had to actually hit a sandbag with the back tires so that I wouldn't hit the camera. And, oh, God, it was fun. It was fun scaring him.
Makes you a Dukes of Hazzard.
But it was really, I mean, how special was that? When I got the audition for it, I just thought this would be so neat for me, you know?
And Uncle Jesse was still alive at the time.
Yes.
For that one. So that's really special.
I met them. Yeah, I didn't actually have a scene with him. I just had one with John Schneider, but yeah, it was another one of those moments in my life. And sometimes I feel like Alice in Wonderland. I just have these very surreal experiences, you know.
How often do you work with something, or maybe on a project with some really famous people in it, but you never even come across them? I'm sure that happens.
Oh, absolutely. Especially now. So back when I did a lot of 3-camera sitcom, which is in front of a studio audience, you do the show like a play. And so you're with those people all week long and you know everybody. Now it's very rare to find a 3-camera sitcom, and everything's shot like you would shoot a movie.
Really? Like a 1-camera setup and they move it around? And
yes. Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought
TV shows
that.
are now 1 camera. Yeah, they are. And so, sort of you act in a vacuum. You do your scenes with whomever it is, and you may never meet any of the other cast.
That must slow the process a lot.
Yeah, for me, it's not as exciting. I really miss the feeling of the audience. Mm-hmm. And when you do 3-camera, you usually shoot it twice. When you're doing 1 camera, you could shoot a scene 30 times throughout, 12 or more hours.
Sure.
It's tedious. It's not, it's not as glamorous as you would think, right?
No. Tell us about, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. Tell us about being on the set of The Amazing Spider-Man. And I picked you out immediately.
That was actually super exciting. I've done mostly TV and comedy, and I've done some film, but it was one of those random auditions where you knew a million people were auditioning for it, and I was just shocked. And we had a few lines, and we were called to set for 4 days,
mm-hmm.
and they had asked us if we had stunt background. I said I was a dancer half my life.
Sure.
I didn't know how that was going to affect me. I wasn't auditioning to be a stunt person or anything. But it turned out we had to choreograph with, I think it was 4 to 6 stuntmen. It was like a dance. They had a fight scene in the subway. And the other girl and I we were dancers. And I guess they knew that we would have the timing to work around the stuntmen. The hard thing is that, they edit things for film. And
sure.
The director was so cool. He had us just talk the whole time. He was really loosey-goosey about the script. He said, just talk to your boyfriend, and then talk to the girl. And we were talking the entire time, but of course, for dramatic effect, they ended up using our voices in the background, like other people on the subway, and we were all silent.
And you're a piece of Spider-Man history. That's fantastic. Yeah. I'm sorry we're out of time. Tell us, where can people go and follow you?
At Jennifer Lyons Den. So Lyons is Lyons and then DEN, and that's my Instagram handle.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Scott. It was really fun talking to you.
Always great talking to you. Scott Romine for Gwatney Unplugged. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the News Radio 102.9 KARN Radio Center and Studio 1B, it is Gwatney Unplugged with Scott Romine.
Hey, Scott Romine here. Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. Guest on the show this morning, good friend of mine, known her quite a while, Jennifer Lyons. If you Google her, she is an actress, a model, a dancer. She's done all kind of things from Spider-Man to the Dukes of Hazzard and all this stuff that I'm into. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm great, Scott. Thank you for having me.
Oh, gosh. Always great to talk to you. You kind of didn't have a choice, I don't think. You were going to be a Hollywood person from early on. Can you tell the audience kind of like some of the family that is involved in Hollywood around you?
Sure. Yeah, I was born about 10 minutes from Hollywood, so I didn't have much of a choice.
No, you didn't.
My mother's parents were vaudevillians, which meant they were singer, dancer, actors. They had a radio show like you.
Really? It's probably better than my show.
Oh, well, I think it was a little more melodramatic, perhaps.
Oh, I got you.
It was before television. They had a radio show. They did the live circuit of performing together, and they came out to California. My grandma was doing a show at the Pasadena Playhouse. That's where we ended up when I was a kid, Pasadena. My aunt went to LACC and became an actress. Her siblings, especially two brothers, became actors as kids, and one did quite well. And then my Aunt Dorothy Best ended up marrying James Best, who was on the Dukes of Hazzard playing Roscoe P. Coltrane. And I was just surrounded by incredibly fun, upbeat performers. And I was actually quite shy, and I was a dancer. I was mostly into ballet and jazz and modern. The acting for me came later. I don't know how I came out of my shell, but I did.
So do you remember the youngest time you said, I'm going to audition and try to do this part? What was the first thing?
It's so funny. Okay, well, I remember the first time I said, I want to be on TV, and it was a very distinct in my memory. It was a Cheerios commercial.
Oh,
and these girls girls and boys were dancing around Cheerios, and I said, I want to be in a Cheerios commercial.
Well,
my
sure.
mom laughed at me. She said, "There's nobody to drive you around all day and do that," And I guess it turned out later that she didn't really agree with children or acting really young. But later on, I hurt myself as a dancer, and I went to college. And that's when I said, I want to be on stage. I'd been on stage since I was a little kid, and I auditioned for a musical, and I got the lead, and I discovered somehow I was funny. I think I'm just quirky naturally. And I got the guts to go out and audition for something. I did a play with James Best, my uncle. I got it's a string of events. I got a card of a manager, and the manager sent me out for some auditions. My first television audition was California Dreams, which was a Saturday morning TV show after Saved by the Bell, same producers.
I got you.
And I booked it. I booked 3 episodes. So that was kind of my first legit TV job. I did, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but my first movie audition was Dinosaur Island, which was, Jim Wynorski was the director. And it's sort of a Roger Corman type film. And I was so green, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, I don't do nudity. And that was crazy. But that's sort of where it began, and then Tiger Heart was my next audition. I don't know how I was so lucky, but everything I auditioned for at that age, I sort of booked immediately.
That's amazing.
It's not as easy older.
You say something that kind of makes me think, one of the things I've always loved about you is you do all these things, but everything you do is tasteful. And is Hollywood like what we imagine here, where you're pressured to do things you don't want to do, and it's been tough to, hey, I'm not doing this or whatever?
Well, I mean, first of all, I think Hollywood is a state of mind. It's not really something really that tangible. It's you have to, if you come to Hollywood, you have to be grounded. You have to know who you are. And I come from a very grounded family who was not going to let me, Jimmy would say, we're not going to send you to the wolves, without the knowledge of what's really going on. And so I say I was green before, but I knew where to go, where to meet people. Don't meet people in a hotel room, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So yes, I think it's very tempting for people who don't have a strong moral compass, who want to be famous. That was never a goal of mine. I wanted to have fun and perform and learn and play. And, if people come here and they want to make money and be famous, I think they will end up doing things that they regret and that they can't, they can't sort of look themselves in the mirror,
Yeah, I can't rewind that. Put that back in the bottle, I guess.
So I have an amazing mother who's always grounded me, and I have that inner voice that has gotten me through life. I've never done nudity. I've shot lingerie forever, but it was catalog stuff, and which of course now because of the internet can be misconstrued. But you have to also make a living, but be proud of yourself.
I've seen you on Married with Children. What was that family like? What were those folks like?
It was a very surreal experience for me, you can imagine, because I watched that show since the first day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was on the air, and then I was on, I think it was second to last season and last season. I did 3 episodes. And when I walked on that set, I mean, I felt like I couldn't breathe. It was so bizarre. And immediately was welcomed with open arms by that entire cast. They were the nicest people you could ever imagine. This is my, besides Saturday Morning, that was my second TV show. I was kind of scared to death. And Ed O'Neill, of all people, sort of was so warm and just, if you know Jimmy, he was just a warm person who wanted to help you be your best. And he was the first person that was really helping me with holding my laughs for television, which was different than stage because it's a different timing. Every time I came off stage, he would be like, great job. I mean, so motivational. So David Faustino, just such a doll and so funny. And Christina Applegate, very kind and embraced me. You can imagine the kind of girls, all those characters that are on that show.
Yeah, it was great.
So, some of the women on the show you'd think would get a little tired of it, but everyone was just very kind. And I mean, the whole, trying to remember everyone's name, but such good people. And gave me a place. I understood what it must be like to be on a show that long. And they were so professional and really taught me how to behave on set, because the Saturday Morning show, the kids were kind of crazy.
They were kids at that point. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It was a different thing. Yeah. I got a minute before we got to take a break, but Jay Leno, you worked with him.
Yeah, I got to do somewhere around 30 comedy sketches with him through the years, and it was just fun. I never knew what zany, crazy character I would be, that week. I was really lucky to have that, every couple months I got to go on the show. Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, that was a huge show. Big as Married with Children,
So fun. And he's such another really kind person. A lot of times, Hollywood people, they get a bad rap, but honestly, the most creative, successful people are often the nicest people and the most humble. And he's one of those. He's a humble man.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're talking with Jennifer Lyons. She is a dancer, an actress, a model. We'll be right back here on Gwatney Unplugged.
You're listening to Gwatney Unplugged on on News Radio 102.9 KARN with Scott Romine. Brought to you